The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
You are now entering the Stone Zone. Well, the Federal Reserve Board has voted to hold rates steady, easing bias. But there were 4 dissenters. That's the first time that has happened in 34 years on the Federal Reserve. Disgraced Federal Reserve Board Chairman Jerome Too Late Powell signaled at the same time that he will not step down from power quietly, announcing plans to remain on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors even after his term expires on May 15th. This is the first time in 113 years that this has happened, with 2 exceptions. In 1948, the then Federal Reserve Board chairman, a man named Eccles, died, and President Harry Truman asked the acting chair to stay on the board. And then once again in 1916. It is Jerome Powell who in 2022 essentially destroyed the economy by leaving rates too low, too long, in an apparent and I think transparent effort to boost the re-election prospects of Joe Biden. He also made, in December, he ordered the Fed to purchase $40 billion of bonds, which created the current inflationary pool, which has raised inflation by 9%. Now, it is bad enough that he is staying around. This decision comes as scrutiny intensifies over his extremely profligate renovations at the Federal Reserve headquarters, as well as his manipulation of the interest rates to hurt President Trump's economic recovery. You see, Federal Reserve rates are supposed to be governed by the rate of inflation and the rate of unemployment. And the rate of inflation and unemployment today are lower than they were when Jerome Powell cut rates to try to benefit Joe Biden. So it's Jerome Powell who has been acting politically, not the President of the United States. Powell admitted that he had intended to retire, but now he's going to stick around, well, I guess because he has an axe to grind against President Donald Trump. The Department of Justice initially launched a probe into his congressional testimony regarding these ballooning renovation costs of his already palatial headquarters on Constitution Avenue, a $1 billion renovation. Almost unthinkable, given the fact that there are people who will go to bed tonight not knowing whether their next meal is coming or not. Through this matter has been handled by the Federal Reserve's Inspector General, there's concern that the Fed will protect its institution and make sure that Powell is never held accountable for his behavior. You see, he very specifically lied in his testimony before the Senate. He told the Senate very specifically that this multi-billion-dollar renovation plan did not include private elevators for the Fed governors, did not include a posh private dining room for the Fed board governors, did not include an opulent roof garden only for the use of the Fed board governors. Those were all lies. Now, we have to have one standard. This reminds me of James Comey, who was arrested only yesterday. He lied to Congress, very specifically denying that he had ever shared sealed information and directed a third party, in this case a law school buddy of his by the name of Dan Richman, to leak that information to the New York Times. But federal prosecutors found an email in which the disgraced FBI head had done exactly that. Once again, he got off the hook, not because his court case went to trial, but 3 federal judges acted unconstitutionally. It violated both the canon of ethics and their oath of office by declaring that the prosecutor in the case, Lindsay Halligan, had been improperly appointed. That is incorrect, and they will lose on appeal. But you see, by the time that the courts correct that and certify that Halligan was properly appointed, well, the statute of limitations will have run out on that particular crime by James Comey.